Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Today I got my friend in here, Brian. We're going to be talking about something that I think is very exciting. It's called generational gang violence. But before we get into the episode, y'all, I want to let you know, man, that me and my son, we got a book coming out, right? And it's based on the episodes that I did a while back called Rivals. If you enjoyed the shows, then you're going to really enjoy the book because we get more in detail about what's going on. It's all based on real actual events and it's going down, y'all. So check that out. You're going to be able to get pre-orders in, but it won't be available for sale until August the 1st, 2023. But you're going to see it, and particularly with this episode, you're going to be able to see what it looks like, and you can go ahead and put your pre-orders in just by ordering it out of my merch store on YouTube, right? But at the end of the day, like I said, I want to talk about this generational gang violence, and the Rivals touches on that a little bit about how people, from generation to generation end up in this lifestyle. And Brian is going to be bringing an interesting take to the table about it. We were talking about it the other day, right? So look here, I just want y'all to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What's going on, Brian? What's up, man?
Man, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm good. I want to, first of all, before we get started, thank you for taking the time out to do this show.
No problem.
Yeah, we've been back and forth all day trying to figure out a time to do it. So, we get busy sometimes. But anyway, we were having a conversation the other day, right? I was talking to you about this particular topic, generational gang violence. And you had a lot of interesting takes on it. You know what I'm saying? Talking about your family, members of your family that are involved in the lifestyle and so on and so forth, and how when you were younger you were exposed to a little bit of that, you know what I mean? I just want to talk about that again, right? Because the book that I got coming out called Rivals, it's really touching on that with the, you got the father that was once upon a time the son of a mother and father that were active in the gang life, and they lost their lives, and then he grew up hating the gang that killed his mother, and then his son ends up in the gang, and all back and forth, and all of these generations, you know what I'm saying, of people that are caught up in this lifestyle and this mindset, right? And you told me the other day, man, that you have a lot of family that, and we don't have to get specific, you know what I'm saying, if you're not comfortable with it, but you said you had a lot of family that were involved in the lifestyle. You know
And a lot of friends too,
a lot
also.
of friends.
Like I said, I grew up around it a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand you grew up in it.
Yeah,
I grew up around it, so
Yeah.
there's a big difference.
Yeah.
But from by me growing up around it, I still was exposed to a lot of it, and I saw a lot of nonsense violence on it. And like I was telling you the other day, like a couple of my homeboys that I grew up with, one of them just got out of prison like about 6-7 years ago.
Right.
Their daddy was a Black Panther,
Yeah.
and brothers named Fred and Chris. The other one grew up as a Blood, and the other one grew up as a Crip. And they lived in the same house. They were cool, but once they got out the house, man, one was left, the other one was right.
Right.
And it's just, man, he ended up, got family in Boston, and then he ended up killing some Crip dude up there.
Right.
And he did about 25 years, just got out a few years ago. And he's doing good now. But the other brother, Chris, he's dead now. God bless his soul, man, got in a bad car wreck. But, he was just, it was just crazy, man, how they were just, it'd be people that you grew up with, like I said, went to school together, played ball with and all that, and then once you a Blood, Crip, GD, Vice Lord or whatever, you like, man, I don't like you because you that. You like, dang, bro, we just got through, a couple of years ago, we just got through shooting ball together. We were cool.
Yeah.
And that's and then that stuff gets passed down, man, to your kids and stuff, man, and that's just crazy.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to touch on. Like I said, I keep going back to the book Rivals, and y'all really need to check that out. Get your pre-order in, right? But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say in Rivals is that it's real easy for a child to be influenced to join, especially when you have a parent or parents that are involved in that, right? And a child has no way of really understanding how serious that lifestyle is and the decisions that come along with that, right?
Because they look up to their parents.
Yeah.
And whatever they doing, they gonna do.
Yeah, a role model, we use that term loosely, but a role model doesn't necessarily turn out to be, a person that's positive or negative. They can be both. You feel what I'm saying? Or one or the other, I mean. And when you live in that type of environment, growing up around those types of people, you're more than likely going to get involved in that lifestyle.
Yep.
And that's what I think people mean by, generational gang violence. It keeps getting perpetuated and passed on from fathers to sons, from mothers to daughters.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand. A lot of women are involved in that. You know what I mean? And they pass it on. It's like it's something to be proud of. But if that's what you identify with, then that's just what you identify with.
Mm.
And a lot of people do that, right? So you said something about you have a lot of family members up in the shot, right?
Yeah.
That are involved in the lifestyle. And I don't want to get into anybody's name or too specific like that because I understand, the boundaries in that thing. But you say that families up there that have females involved in the lifestyle.
Yep.
And brothers and cousins and stuff like that that are involved in the lifestyle. And I wanted to ask you, how did that affect you, the times that you would go visit or whatever the case may be? How did that affect you? How did that make you feel? Did you want to be a part of that? Were you curious about that? Tell me about that.
Yeah, when I used to go up there, every summer. 'Cause like I said, my dad's side of the family, 95% of them are GD. 95, and I got maybe one or two vice lords. It's my cousin.
Right.
But when I used to go up there, man, I'm 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I go up every summer, just about all the way up to about 16, 17.
Right.
And then every summer, man, I would hear one of my family members, man, he got shot. He died. I'm like, dang, for real, y'all ain't tell me. And it's just crazy. And then, like I said, all my uncles, like I said, I got about 14 or 15 aunts and uncles up there. So my family up there is huge. And each one of them got about 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah,
so, and, I'm like, your cousin so-and-so got killed. Your cousin so-and-so was locked up. I'm like, dang.
All from gang violence.
Gang violence, man. Gang violence. And when I would go up there and I would ask them, I'm like, what y'all finna go do? And they be like, you can't come, little cuz. I'm like, man, why not? The business. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then my other cousin, he was like, man, when we tell you the business, that mean you can't because you know what we are. I'm like, all right, cool.
Right.
We trying to protect you.
Right.
And and then when we would go to clubs and stuff and everything, they were like, man, make sure you stay behind us. Make sure you stay behind us. You ain't from up here. They don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, golly, man, So,
Right.
and I kind of sort of felt out of place a little bit, but at the same time, that's my family.
Yeah.
I want to feel a part of the family. Mm-hmm. So I was, kind of curious about it. So I would start asking them questions about all that. And I'll be like, man, can I? Like, nope.
Right.
Because what they know, I didn't know. And they
Right.
were like, nope, you ain't. Nope.
Yeah. It ain't what you think.
Exactly.
Yeah, the business ain't the business. And a lot of people say that, right? But out of your curiosity, they told you, nah, this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? And how did you navigate that? After they told you it wasn't for you, I'm sure that you still visited during the summer. You still hung around and did certain things with them, right? But how did that affect the relationship that y'all had?
Some of my cousins, some of them were in it. Some of them were really off in where they go out on robbing sprees, go, shooting folks up, doing all that. And some of them, they wasn't on all that. They just go, sell a little bit of dope and hustle a little bit and everything. And, but, just other than that, though, man, I didn't really feel too outside or ostracized. I just felt like, like, dang, let me in, man. I'm trying to, y'all love y'all. Y'all my family up here. I barely see y'all. I want to, every time I come up here, I want to hang around y'all, but because of y'all lifestyle and what y'all are, I couldn't go everywhere, do everything with them. Like when I first got up, down south it ain't as bad as it is up there. I'll rock my head cock it to the right a little bit or to the left or way backwards. I ain't thinking nothing of it. I was green, you know what I'm saying? And my cousin French, he like, cuz, turn your head straight. I'm like, huh? He like, cuz, turn your head straight. I'm like, all right, there, Lee, No, don't do this, don't do that. I'm
Right.
like, doggone. I mean, I ain't have to go through all that when down back home down here, but up there, bro, it's a totally different environment. But I still feel close to my family, but at the same time, I was just curious about what they was and what the lifestyle was. Cause I was like, man, is it cool? You know, is it not or what? You know. So.
Yeah. I remember part of it when we were talking the other day. You were telling me about how your mom used to tell you, don't hang around with this person, don't hang around with that person, right?
Man.
And it really, go ahead and tell that, and then I'm gonna tell you, you know what I got out of that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and tell that part of what.
Like a lot of my friends I grew up with, you know. Like I said again, we kids, man, we go in backyard, play football and all that, play kickball, wrestling, you know. But what they do back in the day, not now though, but and my mom come out there on the yard, she be like, come here, come in the house. I'm like, what's up? She be like, I don't want you hanging around here. I'm like, why not? His brother woo woo, and I know he be out woo. I'm like, he out stealing and doing all like. I'm like, Mama, we just out here playing. She said, I don't care. Don't bring him over my house no more. I'm like, yes, ma'am. All right. So I ain't want to tell him that and hurt his feelings, but like I said, we still cool. I'm like, bro, let's go over your house and play, or let's go over so and so's house, you know, and you know, and it would be like about 3 or 4 friends that I had like that growing up.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, a week or 2 later, man, I hear they done got caught stealing, got caught with something, you know. My mom be like, see, I told you, yeah, you could have been right there with them, you know. My grandma used to tell me, boy, you get down with dogs, you get up with fleas. I'm like, oh my God.
And see, that's no doubt about it, get the itch. But see, that's my thing about that. You know, I remember the other day when I was listening to you talk about that, and then, you know, preparing for this show, it made me realize something, man. It's like, I remember growing up, my grandma used to tell me about, you know, certain people, don't be hanging around they bad kids, this and that, right? And I was thinking about that the other day, man, because I'm saying to myself, it's like, people are not born as bad.
Right, they're not.
Right? It's what they identify with as they get older. And I mean, when I say older, I'm talking about whether you're 9, 10, or whatever.
Whatever your personality, I would say whatever your personality is, and whatever, you know, whatever you're around or whatever you're influenced by.
You start to identify with it. But here's the thing. Because you identify with a certain behavior, first of all, people don't look to see why these individuals are, well, let me correct that. People don't look into it and see why somebody like me would identify with that at once upon a time in my life, right? They don't look at the backstory to figure out why would somebody like that seems to be, you know, able to check all the boxes. You know what I'm saying? I was in the Marine Corps. I did this. I did that. You know, I've been pretty smart all my life. Why would a person like that identify with that?
Right.
They don't ask those types of questions. I'm automatically labeled a bad guy. You feel what I'm saying? And when I was younger, you know, if I was doing it, I would have been labeled one of those bad kids. You feel what I'm saying? But what I learned out of that, listening to you tell that story the other day, is this, man, that, you know, we are quick to throw a label on somebody that is 9, 10, 11, 12 years old that has no clue as to what it is that they're doing, right? And those labels stick.
And see, then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because our behavior would start to switch up to, we're treating them a certain way. Even like for you, example, you said, you know, your mom or your grandma would tell you this, so you had to adjust how you acted around them when you thought your parents might be watching versus when you were with them alone, right? It taught you, you know, no disrespect, but it, in some kind of ways, it had to teach you how to be deceitful. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess you could look at it like that.
A little bit at least. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if your mom or your grandma tell you stop hanging around them and you still hanging around them, what are you doing?
Right.
See what I mean?
Right.
Doesn't make you a bad person, though.
Right.
But see, when we're young and those labels start to stick, because I remember a friend of mine, man, Bobby, I ain't gonna call his last name. You know who y'all. What's up, though? Look, he overheard my grandmama say that one day.
And I know that hurt his
Crushed
feelings.
it.
Yeah.
Crushed it. And, you know, all these years later, man, I think about, I wonder how that affected him and how he saw things. Because we're quick to put those labels on people. We do it today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In here. Don't hang around dude got such and such charge.
Yeah.
He ain't straight.
Yeah.
You feel me? Or he talking to the police too much. You know, just different things like that. And those labels matter because people, even though we might not say it in front of them at certain times, word gets around. And when you hear something hurtful like that, it affects you. And when I was thinking about, like I say, for this show and my book, it's like I would hope that people would not necessarily take from this show or the book that because a person is living a certain lifestyle that they're a bad person. I'm not justifying it all. I'm totally against that. You feel me? Look, totally against it. But I don't really know the backstory. I know my backstory. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't know the backstory. And then after you've been in it for a while, and I mean a short while, you're hooked just like a fish. You know what I'm saying? And you're pretty much trapped in it. Now it's a matter of, I got to live up to it now. I got to live up to it. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Now, and on the flip side, and I remember my partner Chris, his mother, real nice lady, and her and my mom were kind of cool. They went to school together. And after my mom, told me, about his lifestyle and everything, and don't hang around, I'm like, Mom, that's one of my best friends. I mean, whenever he go do what he do, he tell me, hey, Brian,
Yeah.
don't, I'm finna go woo woo. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll catch you later, man. Be careful, man. But his mom told me, she said, baby, can I tell you something? I said, yes, ma'am. Her name was Sarah. She said, do you mind if Chris hang around you more often? I'm like, nah, I don't mind. I said, that's my best friend. She's like, I just don't want him hanging around these other dudes.
Right. See.
And then that's around the time when his brother Fred, got caught the murder charge, and he just 17 years old, and you know what I'm saying, and got a life sentence, or 25 years, and she like, I don't want him, Chris, to end up like him, hanging around the wrong crowd and do something and then get caught up in something. I want him hanging around. But see, I was known as
a good kid.
But at the same time, though, I did my little dirt too, though. They just didn't know about it.
They didn't know about it. But here's the flip side to what you were just saying.
Because I went to school, played football, sports, and all that. That's everybody knew me as.
Right. That's what.
But I had a little dark side to me too. A lot of people didn't know, and I would keep it. And my mom and them didn't even know, and I didn't want to know because I didn't want to let them down. Because I was still, go steal stuff and all that old mess and everything. Be a knucklehead, you know what I'm saying?
But let me ask you this though. But here's the thing, because that's the flip side to it. You got, like, his mom asked you could he hang around you more because she saw you as somebody that was doing the right thing.
I bet I was a good influence.
A better influence on him, and hopefully that would rub off on him, right? See, that's the part that a lot of people miss. When these parents, and I get a parent looking out for their children, but when a parent says don't hang around this person or that person, you're basically giving up on that child. If it really takes a village, then something is wrong when the village is cutting off a kid. You feel what I'm saying? And that's the part that really gets to me, because at the end of the day, that child that has been misled, all they might need is a good influence.
That's it. That
would turn them around. You feel what I'm saying? You don't abandon them, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. These days, you don't know what you're getting your hands into. You know what I'm saying? They really getting down at a young age. But I think because it's sad that a child would have to find so many disappointments in his life or her life that would make sense to them at a young age. You feel what I'm saying? Something's going on with this child to make that child want to choose that. You know what I mean? Because I think about both of my sons. Mm-hmm. Both of my sons ended up GD. Followed right in my footsteps. Was it because of you, though? Yes. It was directly because of you? Yes. They knew. By your influence? Was it by your influence, or just because, that is GD, so I'm going to be GD? I always try to discourage them from it. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it is about the world. When you tell somebody not to do something, they do it. They go do it. You feel me? And that's the effect they had on. Yes, because I think they said if it's good enough for my dad, it's good enough for me. Mm. And a whole lot of different layers to that. You know what I mean? I'll unpack that another time. But a whole lot of different layers. And yeah, I can remember my son, Boo, when he ended up going to juvenile. It was certain things that he had saw me do or things like that, and when he went to juvenile, he learned what that meant. Mm. And he said, oh, that's what my dad is. Then he did it. You see what I'm saying? And Montreal's pretty much the same way. You feel what I mean? So yeah, I said it was because, I mean, even though I discouraged them, I tried my best to push them away. All I did was push them to it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing that a lot of people miss when it comes to this generational thing. If somebody in your family is doing, living that lifestyle, whether they be a sibling or a parent, trust me, the chances of their sibling or their child getting involved in that lifestyle is high.
Yep.
It's high because you can come with all the little quotes and platitudes that you want to when you're talking to a child or somebody younger or somebody that's looking up to you, that's still impressionable, and say this is not what you want, you don't want this, but for whatever reason that makes it more appealing. And it's more fascinating to them, and then they end up wanting to do it, not knowing the real side of it.
Prime example, like when we were kids, we see the big dope boy with the nice car, the gals and all that. We see that as kids, we're like, man, I want to be like him. He got it going on, but you don't know the flip side of that is a high probability, man, you might get caught and get locked up for a long time.
Yeah, or you don't see the dark side of that lifestyle. What you got to go through to get the dope, to do this, to keep the dope, keep your money, keep robbers off of you, keep the police off of you. We don't realize all that stuff when we're young. But I'll say this. I mean, I had, back in my day, when I was still in rotation, y'all know what I mean when I say this, I had at least 2 or 3 people that were already in their 30s and 40s, man, that wanted to become the folks. Yeah. And I'm like, why? Why would you want to do that? Man, I see y'all doing this. And
see, that they see the outside.
Right. But see, that let me know also, and I ain't no disrespecting to y'all. Y'all know who y'all. You know what I mean? But that let me know that they were dealing with low self-esteem. They were still, after all those years, they were still looking for somewhere to land. You know what I mean? And they thought that's what it was until they became a part of it. You know what I'm saying? They found out real fast that that is not what they wanted. You know what I mean? But they was trapped in it by then. You know what I mean? But, yeah, that's another reason. Like I said, I wanted to talk about this, man, because as this stuff that, you know, this lifestyle gets passed on from generation to generation, we don't factor in all of the violence that comes with it. Like you said, when your cousins and them, when they would leave and say it's the business, they were going off and doing something. What did you think they were doing?
I thought they were going to go probably either go shoot somebody, kill somebody, or that's basically it. Because they live over there. I know you know about Cabrini Green. Yeah, so they lived over in that area. So you already know what's going down. But
see, here's the thing. Knowing that or thinking that they were going to probably rob, shoot, or kill, like you said, how did that make you see them?
I looked at them as like, man, they will, how can I put it in words?
The real way?
I didn't want any harm to come to them. I like, man, y'all ain't got to do that way. I mean, I'm like, man, because I wanted to ask them, man, what are y'all doing? But at the same time, I couldn't ask them without them, you know, telling me.
What's going on? And see, that brings up another point that I wanted to touch on. A lot of people that live the lifestyle don't think about the trauma that they're putting the person that's not involved in the lifestyle through. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be a relative or a parent. When you live this lifestyle, let me correct myself. When you live that lifestyle, right? Because that sounded like presentism. We know that is not going on with Joe P. It's over. But when you live that lifestyle and people know that you live that lifestyle, they worry about you. You can sit there and think whatever you want to think.
That's why
they worry about you.
And you know, I also feel, I mean, cut you off. I also felt like, man, do I need to be a part of that just so I can hang around them more often? That's how I felt also. Right. I feel like, man, do I need to become GD just so I can be around y'all more and protect y'all? Because I ain't want nothing bad to be around them. Like you said, man, I worried about them. I'm like, man, what y'all finna do? I'm like, never mind, man.
Right.
You know, but
it's a scene in the book. It's a section in the book where after, you know, the parents of the main character is killed and he meets his grandmother, right? And he had never met his grandmama, at least he didn't remember it anyway. And I'm thinking about that character, that person, what she must have gone through all those years knowing that, you know, her daughter was involved in that lifestyle, married into that lifestyle, had a child, and that child was in that lifestyle. Imagine the stress and the sleepless nights that she had to experience. You know what I'm saying? Worrying about her family over here living this lifestyle. And then they get killed and she has to figure out how to protect her grandson. You know, that's a lot, man, for people. That's a lot, and people just don't take into account all of the things that go on in that lifestyle. It might look fun, but it's not fun. It's not fun, you know.
You got also, when you in that lifestyle, man, you gotta think everybody that's tied to you, they look at them like that also. That's another reason why my mom told me don't hang around them. Like a couple of your homeboys that I grew up with.
Right.
She like, my grandmother got on my butt. She like, come here, boy. I'm like, yeah, she grabbed, your grandmama grabbed you by your ear.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, mama, and she like, boy, don't bring that boy to my house no more. I'm like, but mama, and she like, boy, what I say?
Right.
His daddy woo. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, mama, all right. I'm like, come on, bro, let's go over your house or let's go over so-and-so house.
Right.
And and that's the thing though. My grandmother associated my friend because of his daddy.
Right.
So when
she knew what he was into.
right, and he was dabbling into it a little bit.
I already know.
And that's why I said when you do stuff, man, it affects your whole family because people are gonna associate your family with you, whether it be good or bad.
That's what it is.
And I hate that. And my grandmother, she always used to tell me, she said, birds of a feather flock together. She said, find you another flock. She used to tell me that.
I see she was quick on her feet, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, man, yeah. I did that, man. I did that. Look here, like I said, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. But I want to encourage all of y'all out there, man. Go check out the book. It'll be available for pre-order. You'll see that, you know what I'm saying, at the bottom of this screen, you'll see the scrolling. You know what I'm saying? Let you know where you can go to get that. Go ahead and get that. Be one of the first to get this thing. It's coming out. It's going to be big. A lot of people are already talking about it. But again, officially, it won't be for sale until August the 1st. But you can go ahead and get your pre-order in, and you'll be one of the first to get it. It's called Rivals by me and my son, Boo. And it's based on real events, y'all. There's real stuff going on, right? And I want to thank you, Brian, for taking the time to do this episode with me, man. It's been a pleasure, as always. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.